A sleek black limousine screeches to a stop outside a crowded park. Paparazzi flash their cameras as a tall, handsome black CEO in a designer suit steps out, but he ignores the cameras. He walks straight to a shabby wooden bench, kneels, and pulls out a tiny crumpled piece of paper. 20 years ago, you gave this to me when no one else even looked at me. Cut to the shocked face of a young woman, trembling as her childhood memories flood back. Voiceover of a child. To whoever reads this, you matter. You're not invisible. Now back to 2004. It was the first snowfall of winter. A little girl named Emily Carter, just 5 years old, was skipping beside her mother on their way to the park. Her blonde pigtails bounced as she clutched a paper snowflake she had made in kindergarten. On a freezing bench, hidden behind layers of torn coats and newspaper, sat a scrawny, homeless black boy named Jaden. He looked no older than 8, dirty, hungry, and ignored by every passerby. "Mommy, why is he sitting alone?" Emily asked, tugging her mom's coat. Her mother hesitated. "Sweetie, don't get too close." But Emily didn't listen. She walked right up to Jaden, knelt, and held out the paper snowflake. Jaden looked at her, wide-eyed, unsure if it was a trick. "It's magic," she whispered. "When you're sad, just hold it and pretend the snow is hugging you." Jaden blinked. No one had ever spoken to him kindly, let alone a stranger. He took the paper with shaking hands and muttered, "Thank you." Emily smiled and skipped away, never knowing what she had just done. Jaden sat curled under the bench, staring at the snowflake. On the back, in big shaky letters, it said, "You are special. Please don't give up. Emily, age 5. That night he didn't cry himself to sleep. For the first time he dreamed. Jaden, now 18, was working double shifts and acing every test at school. That paper, now yellowed and worn, was still in his wallet. His dream? To rise so high that no kid like him would ever feel invisible again. Every rejection, every insult, every locked door. He kept fighting. Emily's words lived in his bones. By 25, he'd graduated top of his class from MIT. By 28, he was running a startup. By 30, he was worth $1.2 billion. But he never found her. Not until fate stepped in. Jaden stood outside a job fair, dressed in a hand-me-down suit, his stomach growling. He pulled out the worn paper snowflake from his wallet and whispered, "One day I'll find you, and thank you." Jaden Pierce, now 33, was featured on Forbes. His AI company had just hit Wall Street, and his face was on every billboard. But all the money in the world couldn't fill one gap: the identity of that 5-year-old girl who once gave him hope. So he launched Project Snowflake. He offered a $100,000 scholarship to anyone who had once made a paper snowflake and left it in Central Park around 2004. Thousands applied. None were her. Jaden was grabbing coffee, unusually dressed down in a hoodie and jeans. A waitress dropped a tray, scattering cups. Sorry, she gasped. She crouched to clean it, then froze. Jaden looked down to help and noticed her name tag, Emily C. His heartbeat accelerated. "Emily Carter?" She looked up, confused. "Yeah, how do you—" Jaden reached into his jacket pocket. Slowly, reverently, he unfolded the crinkled snowflake. Emily's eyes filled with tears. She whispered, "You still have it?" Emily had begged her mom to go back and give the cold boy her drawing. Her mom never let her, but she snuck back anyway. That act had cost her a scolding, but she never regretted it. Back to present, Emily was stunned. "You're Jaden Pierce? The billionaire?" Jaden nodded, eyes locked on her. "You changed my life," with just one paper and a smile. Jaden invited her to walk in the same park they once met. The same bench stood there, a little older, just like them. Jaden turned serious. "I looked everywhere for you. You reminded me I mattered. Now, it's my turn to remind you." Emily chuckled softly, brushing hair from her face. "I'm just a waitress, Jaden." He looked into her eyes. You're the reason I survived." And then he dropped to one knee. The wind howled gently through the trees. Snowflakes danced under the park lights, just like they had 20 years ago. Jaden, the billionaire CEO, knelt before the same girl who once gave him hope when he had nothing, holding a tiny velvet box in the same old paper snowflake. Emily gasped, hands covering her mouth. "You're serious?" Jaden's eyes softened. "I've waited 2 decades to find you. I'm not letting go now." Sleeping under benches, working at gas stations, nights in the library, running his startup from a borrowed laptop. Through it all, that snowflake remained in his wallet, folded with love. Cut to young Emily being scolded for wandering off, secretly smiling as she watched the boy read her message. Emily's voice trembled. "But Jaden, I'm not rich. I don't come from power or money. I'm just—" Jaden stopped her with a smile. "You gave me everything I needed when you had nothing to gain. That's love. That's power." He opened the ring box. A snowflake-shaped diamond sparkled inside. "I built my life on a paper snowflake. Now I want to build a future with you." Emily burst into tears, laughing through sobs. "Yes, yes!" The two hugged tightly as cameras, hidden nearby, caught the moment. News outlets the next day would call it the most beautiful proposal of the decade. Charity gala in Manhattan. Emily and Jaden stood hand in hand on stage. Jaden announced the launch of the Snowflake Foundation, a $200 million initiative to support foster children and homeless youth. He held up the original snowflake for the audience to see. "This saved my life. Now it will save others." Children laughed in a new shelter funded by the Snowflake Foundation. On the wall hung a framed copy of the paper snowflake with the words, "You are special. Please don't give up." Emily, age 5. Outside, Jaden and Emily stood, now married. Snow fell gently again. He kissed her forehead and whispered, "Still think you're just a waitress?" She smiled, leaning into his chest. "Number, I'm your miracle. Inspired by kindness. Driven by hope. Saved by love."